Hello and welcome to Christ United Methodist Church. My name is Ben Williams, and it's a deep joy to be one of the pastors of the congregation and to welcome all of you to this wonderful Benevolence Concert this afternoon. A couple things I want to share as we get underway. We have moved to mask recommended, so you'll see some folks wearing their mask and others maybe choosing not to, and that is good. That is where we are, and there are some available out in the back if you do want to pick one up. But we continue to just track where we are with all that and want everybody to feel comfortable and safe, so wanted to speak to that. A few other things I want to lift up. As you know, I hope what this is about today is a benevolence concert. So we didn't ask you to buy tickets, and we didn't check your tickets at the door, but we are hopeful that you would make a donation. It's been wonderful as we've moved through this season to all the ways people have been generous in responding. And you've been asking, as a congregation at least, how can we be helpful to those in the Ukraine and those who have been impacted by this war? And from the beginning, we put a candle on our altar table, and we lit it and have moments where we pray and think well about brothers and sisters in the Ukraine. And I'm often thinking, by the time we gather on Sunday mornings for worship, our brothers and sisters in the Ukraine have already had an experience of worship, and we have United Methodist congregations, believe it or not, in the region. We have them in Ukraine. We also have them in Russia, and I'm always mindful of how they have heard the text that we are preaching and teaching from, how they have gathered around the table and how they have broken bread and heard the gospel. And as you, I'm sure, are wrestling with how might we be a people in solidarity with, one of the answers has come that we would have this concert today. So we're glad you're here. We're grateful for your generosity. If you didn't have a chance to do that, as you leave today, there is an offering basket. You can place your offering there. There's some instructions in the program about how you can give, lots of different ways. One question that I would answer, a few people ask as they came in, if you would like to write a check, if you would make that out to Christ Church, Christ United Methodist Church, and then note on the memo line that it's for this benevolence concert for Ukraine, we'll have the opportunity through the channels in the United Methodist Church to be sure that those resources get where you intend them to. There's no overhead involved in this. There's no other cost. Every penny you offer is going to go straight towards relief in Ukraine. A couple of things I want to offer today. We actually gather in this space every Sunday morning at 9 and 11, and the leadership of the church would tell me I wasn't doing my job if I didn't also, at every opportunity, invite you to come and be with us on those occasions as well. We have programming for children, nursery care, we have opportunities for youth, people of all ages, so we'd love to see you on Sunday mornings as well. And before I hand it over, I want to say a word of thank you to our poets. Thank you for being with us today. We look forward to your offerings and all the ways that God has moved in your life to stir you to answer a call. And specifically, as you're writing these poems and offering them today, we are grateful. Thankful to all of our musicians, those who are playing bells and instruments and singing. We're grateful for your contributions and preparation for this day as well. And always, Dr. Daniel Steinert, we are so grateful. Your creativity, your heart for the Lord, for the ways that you share, it is powerful and wonderful. So I'm going to hand it off to you in just a moment. The last thing I'm going to say before you listen to the wonderful offerings is when this is over, we hope you will find your way back over to our parking lot across the street here, and we have an overflowing abundance of ice cream. Do you like ice cream? Then we have lots of ice cream, lots of choices, lots of different kinds, and I can't eat it all. Will you help me? All right. And I hope some of you will join in as well. And really, we wanted to have the concert, but we also want to have opportunities for fellowship. It's been a long 2 years of being separated from one another, and we'll be outside. I think it'll be a safe opportunity and lots of different choices there, so stick around and join us for that. Dr. Daniel Steinert, I'm going to hand it off to you. Take the wheel, and I'm going to go sit down and be quiet. How about that?
Thank you, Pastor Ben. I'm going to invite up one of our church members here. He's usually back there at the soundboard, but he's also a graduating senior from Northwood High School. This is Cal Martine, and he's very interested in sound engineering. I believe that's the degree he's pursuing at North Carolina School of the Arts in Winston-Salem. So welcome, Cal, and then we'll play a little bit for you.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Caitlin Ware. I am from the West Virginia Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church. And this Lent season, Taku and I decided that we were going to explore poetry as a spiritual exercise. And for me, I'm the kind of person that I don't really know what I'm thinking until I write it down. And it's kind of a way for me to process what I'm feeling with God, and maybe if I'm lost, I can help find myself a little bit. And so we decided that each day, or usually for me, it was probably 1 a.m., I would sit down and process my day with God through a poem. And I'll admit I had no idea that this kind of event was going to happen. And so when we found out that the theme was peace, I said, I do not know that my poems are peaceful. And, you know, we kind of came to the conclusion that our journey in faith through Christ is a journey to find peace and rest in God, right? And so I'm just going to share with you some of my journey with God, and if you find peace in that, or it hits you in a way that you recognize, I'll be glad. So receive this in any way that you wish. You can close your eyes, get comfortable, shout if needed. But I'll start with my first one. Taku and I are both first-year MDivs at Duke Divinity, and so a lot of our poetry will kind of come out of what we're exploring with the theology of communion, the theology of peace and grace, and all of these things that we're exploring right now. And my first one, called Communion, comes out of a chapel service I had at Duke Divinity School, where I was really kind of struggling with what even is communion anymore. In my home church, again, from North Central West Virginia, has a lot of Italian immigrants, and so we got our bread from a local Italian bakery. There was this big, thick cut of Italian bread that we would dip in a communal cup, and I had went for the better part of a year and a half without communion because of the pandemic and such, and so finally getting to receive communion again hit me very differently. I was in a different place, not taking communion in the same way that I had, and was exploring a lot of what does it even mean to be in communion with God and with one another. So that's where this first poem is coming from. I hold out my hands, a posture of reception and begging, hoping that this moment I might feel grace. My palms face upward, my eyes look downward, and I take the cup. After one man hands the elder a mask, a plastic vessel of Christ's body and blood is prepared. With mask, glove, and sanitizer, sterile and distant. I clasp my palms, holding what might be the very flesh of Christ, a sign of Christ, a medium of presence. It all swirls as I wonder what this plastic cup might give me. And I sit down, close my eyes, and pray that this potion of juice and waver might somehow beam me into connection with the grace of the Most High. But all I feel is a semi-sweet liquid trickling down my throat, a sticky wafer on a back molar, and the blood of Christ trickling down my hands. Thanks be to God.
So if you're very observant with the handbells, you see the tables here and several bells in front of each of them. The way you play handbells is you either play a line or a space. The notes are next to each other, like a B and a C or a G and an A as the musical alphabet goes. So I offered a workshop here pre-pandemic, and guys, come on over here so you can see your grandmother, because I'm talking about you. These boys who were so excited about ice cream, they're even more excited about seeing their grandmother ring. Donna, you want to wave and everything? So Donna came to this workshop, and she goes, I think I can do that. And here she is Indeed. So it is something that really anybody can do. It's Shakespeare even, to quote Shakespeare, he said, to ring or not to ring, when is the question. So we don't have anybody scheduled for a solo in the bells today. So if they do, then it's we go back to Shakespeare, Exhibit A. This composition was written for our beloved daughter's now a sophomore at ECU, 3 tests away from becoming a junior. And I wrote it after being inspired by the National Handbell Conference, which takes place in Orlando. But it's in the middle of July, and I never, ever could get there, except thanks to the pandemic. In a way, it was a good thing. Like I say, we've gotten some good things from it. So I attended all these classes virtually. And the suggestion was a way to recruit bell ringers is to take music that only needs a bell in this hand and a bell in that hand. In other words, like a B and a C. You don't have to put the B down and grab the B flat. That's how you get more, or get rid of the C and take the C sharp, where you'd have 4 bells. You still have just a B and a C. So you'll notice every bell ringer will not really touch the table. It's like kind of magic in a way, and that's how this piece came to be, and it all timed out with our daughter's graduation. So it's called Carillon.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Taku, also known as Vachikepe the Poet. I'm from Zimbabwe. I've been writing poetry for 16 years. I'm 35 years old. I turned 35 on Thursday. I'm a Duke. I love poetry so much. I'm in the States because of the grace of God. I've been coming here at Christ Church 2018. I came for a poetry festival for 6 months. I came back again 2019 and 2021. To date, I've been coming here. I love this place so much because I'm a very radical poet. But when I come to this church, I'm at peace. Some people, they don't even know that I'm a poet. So I love this church so much. And I just want to thank Caitlin for inspiring me. Last year, she just came and said to me, Taku, you write poetry? Then I said, yes. Then she said, how about we write poetry next year for the Lent? Then I said, yeah, it's really good. So I reminded her, and she said, let's do it. So I'm very happy to be here. And also my blessings to my classmates, Chloe, Sarah, and Whitney. May God bless you so much. My poem is entitled Church. One day we were at school. There's this professor by the name Will Wilmon. He gave a lecture about the future of the church, what will happen to the church. He said so many things. And when I went home, it inspired me to think. The way that I write poetry from my dreams, I write poetry from revelation, I write poetry from insight, and I write poetry from imagination. Then I had something like a vision or a revelation. Inside that revelation, there was a church. And around that church, there were walls that were surrounding that church. These walls, they had broken down, or they were breaking down. So there were two options that were left at that church. It was either to build the walls of this church, to rebuild so that the church is protected from the society, or to admit that the walls were broken, so the church was in the society. So people, they were there looking at the church thinking what stance they're going to take. So from that kind of revelation, I wrote this poem which is entitled Church. In the church is where we find life. Where exactly in the church? In which times of the church? Which church exactly? And what is a church? Thank you.
Our benevolence concerts would not be complete without Laurel and Marjorie here, so we welcome them back. I know Laurel wants to say something, and I'm going to let her say it for sure. But I did want to say that between Laurel and Nick, her husband back there, Nick somewhere, right? Oh, they're there, sorry, excuse me. And usually you're sitting right there. What did you say? Okay. So I know Nick's going to want to talk to Caitlin afterward about this Italian bread because they love Italian food, so we're going to get back to that. But here we go, Miss.
Can you hear me? Okay. In the last 52 years of piano teaching, yeah, it's over half a century, I have had the privilege of teaching children from all over the world in many different cultures. And but one of the pieces that children from all over the world enjoy playing is Fur Elise. It's a rite of passage, this piece. It is a late intermediate, and it goes dee 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 dee, and every child wants to play it. And it has 3 beats in a measure, and it goes 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Okay, that being said, I've also been a judge for the New York State Music Association piano competitions, and I've heard this piece and taught this piece several thousand times. Okay, invariably I hear dee 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 dee. Okay, or dee 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 dee. Oh, that's it. okay? But Marjorie and I are not always reverent. So we found two pieces that make a little bit of fun out of fur lace, okay? And I hope that you will enjoy it.
I only want to hear jazzy jaws for release from now on. So my next piece comes from a place of frustration and anger. And I think when we're talking about peace, and especially world peace, everybody has a different concept of what that looks like and how to achieve that, right? And you can get into conflict over talking about peace. And I think we don't always read grace into a person's perspective, right? We see our perspective and we want other people to see our perspective, but we don't understand why the other person thinks that way, right? And I think, especially now, what the world needs in order to start cultivating peace is grace. And so I'm going to vastly change the energy here. And I'm going to rock the boat a little bit. I'm going to have a little bit of an angry message, but I hope that you also read the peace and the grace that is instilled into it. So the first piece is called, or this piece is called Cancel Culture. To you, grace and peace are an intro to a letter of lectures and shortcomings. You never could come to grasp how truth could be held by anybody but you. And so, you cut them off. You press your palms into your temples, and you shout till the noise in your mind is louder than the clamor of the world. Because all in all, you only ever wanted to hear yourself. You are an echo chamber in an empty cave fortified by stalactites, tons of clay, and toxic bat shit. And you alone are a truth you tell yourself. Do you not hear? Do you not perceive? Do you not see? I will not be a stumbling block to the learner. I will roll away the stone so that they might explore that cave and come out into the light. Christ died while I was yet a sinner. Yes, I must believe that all, in fact, are capable of redemption. Inseparable from love and the faithfulness of God, worthy and receptive of grace. In the posture that risks mistakes and hope, rather than doing nothing in despair. I am a living sacrifice, compelled by the convictions of my faith, set out for peace and mutual upbuilding. so that all might glorify God as one, and yet as distinct accents, pouring off lips and on the tips of tongues in praise. I will remain in the condition in which I was called, perpetually in a state of a bursting seed, planted on good soil with firm roots, watered by your workers, ever growing, to stretch out my branches and leaves in a rush of praise. Grace and peace to you is a hope that fools have, and peace is a gun pressed into a temple, but these are not so. Grace and peace will be a letter written on my heart for every day, age, and person I commune with whom I break bread and pour wine and laughter, and with whom I'm preparing a seat at the table. Truth. Yes, there are facts, observations that do not live and breathe without meaning, and there are opinions, fickle whims that seek out only the personal cost to renovate that cave. But truth is a guide out into the light. It's a law unto itself, and yet a word that always lands on the heart and lays on green grass. It is the sun on my face and the color in my life. Grace and peace, if you truly believe in these, they are for all. A flowing fountain of living waters to cleanse and fill the well of our souls. Who is to leave the gasper thirsty on their journey from the blinded cave? I won't. I will pour and pour and pour. Yes, you get love too. It is a reckless and uncontrollable action, but I will love and love and love. Maybe, just maybe, you'll find yourself kneeling beneath the wound of the side of Christ, drinking and drinking and drinking, till you are so full your stone is rolled away, the sun comes out, and you find your name all over again. Yes, indeed, you were loved by me in grace and peace. Thanks be to God.
Thank you, Caitlin. I met Michael John Trotta, the composer of the next piece, at the Choral Directors Convention in Mobile, Alabama, right, like literally the day before everything shut down in March 2020. And I really fell in love with his music and found this sweet piece. This is the Nunc Dimittis, if you know all the big church lingo and so forth, but it is, stay with us because it is almost evening, and many of us know that the dark and the evening is most difficult, but it says something about what you can see and believe and what you can't see and still believe, and that is a gift to live life in that way. So we're going to invite, we have another Duke connection here. Frequent soloist at the Christmas Eve Duke Chapel is our own Ryan Best, and we are grateful to have him singing with us tonight. I remember being in 9th grade myself and still singing high A's as a boy soprano, and I loved it, and I didn't care what any of the other boys thought about it. So I think Ryan has that spirit in him too. He's got a beautiful gift here. You'll hear his mother later on the flute. She's in our alto section, and his brother Owen is in the alto section too. So they are like the Von Trapp family in a way, and we're glad to have them join us today with the Bells and Choir singing "Stay With Us." So, bells.
Well, I was going to read a very different poem, and I just feel like I really want to read this one. So, this one is about justice, and I was going to talk about the day of my death, but I always have these weird existential crises when I'm like, I don't know, ordering Burger King or like going through the car wash, and this one I'm pretty sure I wrote while I was getting my car washed, and I feel like when we want something so bad, sometimes we can take the place of God and say we know better, right? But God always knows better, but in that moment, we think we do. And in our pursuit of justice, we go around the world and we try to bring God's judgment on other people, but we don't really think about what we need to work on ourselves. And I think we could start to do the work of justice in the world if we only started to seek that in ourselves, right? We start to do some internal work in order to go out into the world and do that work. And I know that I have definitely not done that several times. I have definitely thought that I knew better and I'm going to go forth, and I have to learn to trust God. And so in this time of craziness, of craziness and world conflict and conflict with our neighbors, I think we have to remember not only, grace and peace, right, but that internal work that we ourselves have to do as well. And so I call this one justice. I wonder at how I saw your judgment as unjust, wrathful and indiscriminate, a moral wrong with you, God, as a divine exception. And then I saw myself, and I've cried out for justice so many times, to act on my time, in my terms, on my anger to specific people. I gave you an ethical imperative as an exceptional mortal. But God, your judgment is just, impartial, holy, reckoning to relationship and righteousness. Yes, it is frightful to know that I'm on the line too, that my thoughts and actions are counted just the same as my enemies. And all the same, God saw that it was good. It was good to bring down the haughty and to raise up the lowly and oppressed. Yes, we all deserve justice, and that requires judgment, and there is no hung jury. And rather than crying out for an immediate change, I'll wait and change myself. Because the day of the Lord is fearful to behold, and even I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So God, hear my cry, and Lord, have mercy. Thanks be to God.
Two ladies coming up to sing the solo lead part of this song. Our own council president, and Rumay Alexander, and she's so much more than that in her world. She every day strives to bring peace and grace and show that in her work here at UNC and throughout the whole country. She's renowned for being in those situations and putting herself into situations. She's a gift to have in this congregation. And you haven't even heard her sing yet, so that's another blessing. Blessings is the name of our music intern program here. So we have Mary Shannon here. She as well, you can see the number of bells she's ringing and the number of bells Donna's ringing. Thank you, Donna. So she does whatever we ask her to do, sing, play bells, and you actually have a chance. There's a lot of room in the aisles. This piece may cause you to forget about your mourning, M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G, and let God turn it into dancing. This piece by Diana Hamilton, the Adom, is an African word that means grace, and Wadom, W-apostrophe, means God's grace. So it is that and so much more. We add the backup choir here, and like I say, just bop along. You feel free to raise your hands, clap them, whatever you want to do, okay? So I'm going to hand this over to Rumay. This is Adom.
Your grace, Adom, Adom. I've been through a lot, but grace sustained me. My test is now a testimony. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace, Adom. Adom, Adom. It was you, my lawyer in the courtroom, dear Nama dear say? Why don't you know me? Whoa, whoa. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. I don't. Hey, I don't know, no, me. I don't know, I don't. What don't dear Nama dear say? What don't you know me? Whoa, whoa. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. I don't. Who has changed my story? Who has given me a song? Turn my mourning into dancing. It is you and just your grace. You have changed my story. Protocol breaker, you made a way. Turn my mourning into dancing. It is you and just your grace. Could not have made it without you. Oh, could not have sailed without you. Your loving kindness, grace and mercy brought me through. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. I don't. Could not have made it without you. Oh, could not have sailed through without you. Your loving kindness, grace and mercy brought me through. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. I don't. Hey, I don't want to make. I don't. What don't dear Nama dear say? What don't no make oh. So the essence of my praise is centered in your grace. I don't. Why don't? What don't dear Nama dear say? Why don't no me oh. So the essence of my praise is centered in your grace. I don't.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel, with the good music and your crew. My second poem for today is entitled The Sojourner. I like the word sojourner, the English sojourner. English is my second language. My first language is Shona. So the name sojourner, it rhymes with a name that is called Sorojena. Sorojena in Shona, Sorojena, it means white-haired or white-haired people. So in my culture, it's not shameful to have white hair. it's prestigious and it's an honorable thing. So everyone, because of life expectancy, everyone wishes to have white hair. So people who have got white hair, they are really respected in the society because they've got white hair. So everyone who has got white hair, I respect you so much. Yeah, so there are some things that I think in life. I enjoy being a Christian so much because to me, faith has no boundary. Creativity, being a Christian is infinity. But there are some things that confuses me as a Christian, like divisions in the church. Individuals who think their thoughts they are better than anyone, or the different decisions that we make in the church. So those things, they kind of like confuse me, or some things that we're supposed to do and we don't do as a church. The Bible says, you saw me naked, but you didn't clothe me. You saw me hungry, but you didn't give me food. And the other time, that rich man, he said to Father Abraham, can you please send someone from here so that he goes to the people to warn them? Then Father Abraham said to that rich man, don't worry about the people that are there. I've got my prophets that are there. So it means prophets, they're amongst us. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes a prophet will be like my young brother who was singing here, but we just see that as a child. And sometimes there are angels that are walking around us. We just don't know because we are too busy understanding our thoughts and understanding what we want to understand. My poem. I came to your church not to steal your people. I came to your church to hide away from these devils. Don't worry about your people. I will not steal them. As a matter of fact, that is the reason why I came to your church. Because I admire the relationship between your church and its people. Please do not close your doors before me. My intentions are pure. Please do not turn your backs on me. My love is genuine. I came to your church not to steal your people, but I came to your church to be blessed with your love. Out there, the devils are waiting for me. They are breathing fire. They want to quickly swallow me. They know what I have done, what I am doing, and what I am going to do. They are not happy with me. They can't wait to destroy me. Please don't chase me away from your church. I did not come to steal your people, but I came here to rest, reflect, drink some water, and proceed with my journey. Thank you.
Everyone's welcome here at Christ Church, even my banker. I was cashing a check at the credit union, and Alex waited by. She said, "Oh, what church do you work at, and what do you do?" And the next thing I know, Alex is playing violin here. So it's really a great story. Inviting people is the best way to let them know about the gift of church, as you can hear many times from Taku. So we welcome Alex again, and I do want to thank Doug Wakeman back there in the trumpet section, way in the back there. But he's a very faithful member here as well, and his gifts are, they don't go unnoticed. So this is a piece by Dan Forrest, one of my big heroes in the composition world. Met him in Raleigh, as well as at the convention, and heard this piece there. He tried to think how would you set peace to music, and he thought of the whole note, just the pure 4 beats and nothing else. So that's how this piece begins, just calm and quiet like that, except then the men kind of add a little bit of something, that kind of a Dan Forrest technique, where they speak it without singing, and they say, peace. And you kind of feel the breath of the Holy Spirit is the idea here. And I think we all have that little nod, or something on this shoulder. Am I going to go this way or that way? We all get that in our lives. So pay attention to that. It's very, very important. And this piece, Shalom, is going to be premiered in Israel with Dan Forrest's group in October. So if you want to go to Israel coming up in October, get in touch with Dan. So, Shalom.
Yeah. Dr. Daniel is saying we're about to go for ice cream. So my last poem for today is entitled Forgive Them. Forgive Them. It is always inspiring for me to remind myself and to remind everyone connected to me that we need to learn to forgive. And as I always say, like, we need to learn to forgive, that is the time that I also realize how difficult it is to forgive. It is very difficult to forgive. But it really feels good when we forgive. So most of the times when I introduce myself, I say, my name is Taku, I'm from Zimbabwe. And people go, wow, you're from Zimbabwe, that is really good. And some people who know Zimbabwe, they say, oh, we know Zimbabwe, we know Victoria Falls, we know this and that, and I always feel good. But this didn't happen this day. One of these ladies, she's second year at Duke Divinity. So she said, where are you from, by the way? Then I said, I am from Zimbabwe. Then she said, Zimbabwe? Oh, wow. Then I went like, what's up? Then she said, one day she was in Botswana for a field education, and there came robbers in a restaurant, and these robbers, they had guns, and everyone was on the floor, and they took things from people, and they went away. So after that, it was realized that those people, they were Zimbabweans. They were from Zimbabwe. That was the first time when it was heartbreak, like, wow, Zimbabwe? Because that's not the narrative of my country. That's not how I know my country. Zimbabweans, we are very peaceful people. In Southern Africa, some of the Africans in Southern Africa, they even laugh at us. They say we were too colonized by the British. They even laugh at us like, see the way that you look. You can't even speak English in the accent of your native language. We are very peaceful. In 1980, after independence, everyone in our country, everyone was said, can you come with your gun, with your knife, with your everything, submit it to the government? And everyone submitted guns, knives, everything. In Zimbabwe, you can just walk free. There's no one who has got a gun. It's just as free as that. So that story really made me think, like, sometimes narratives, they can be changed by some individuals in the society. So I imagined an extreme sense of it. Sometimes poetry is difficult to understand poetry. So for this poem, I'm going to interpret it before reading it. Once upon a time, there was someone who came with a gun. Someone who came with a gun pointed at someone. Someone who was looking at the gun pointing at him, I would say, or her, she realized that she is going to die right now. But she decided to look at the person who was holding the gun straight in the eyes. The person who was holding in the gun straight to the eyes, he realized that he was about to do a very wrong decision. Then he didn't pull the trigger. Then he went away. This is imagination, this is fiction. After a day, people were called. This guy with a gun, he was caught up somewhere. But this person who was pointed with the gun was called to identify the person who was holding the gun. So there are 11 people that are there. The person who was almost shot decided, can I point that this guy is the one who was holding a gun? She thought. But then she realized that the person who was holding a gun had a decision to shoot me or not to shoot me. So the person didn't decide to shoot. So the person who was about to identify people, 11 people that were standing there, also decided not to pinpoint the person, and the person went free. So this is the poem. It's called Forgive Them. I know it's you. I have seen you with my own eyes. I looked straight at you and I saw you, and you saw me too. In the midst of fear, rush second, and a pool of limited decisions, our eyes communicated. Mine, they prayed that you spare my life. Yours, they wished if they had never seen me. In heaven, I send myself, although I really wanted to live more. But your decision of mercy pulled me back, and I survived. What happened next? I wasn't involved. You left me trembling and asking myself thousands and 100,000 words if I was alive or not. Here you are again before my eyes and through a glass, and now you are caged up like a chicken with 10 more people who look like you. The honest truth is, no one really knows what happened except me and you. Now I will pretend like I am looking at your lookalikes, but the truth is, I am looking at you. Your eyes are communicating. They are saying, please forgive me. I didn't mean to hurt you. I bet your heart is beating too fast and faster like African drums. I bet if they would bring you here blindfolded, I would gather courage to tell it all. But guess what? You pardoned my eyes without expecting, and I survived. Today, I will do the same. I will not tell. You forgave yourself before pulling that trigger. Same applies. I will forgive myself before making a wrong decision. Don't worry, my good friend. Today, I will not tell, and you are free to go. We are forgiven, my good friend. Thank you.
It's been a joy to be with you, and we're going to wrap up here with allowing you to sing with us as well. In that hymnal there, the larger of the two hymnals, 376, are the Latin words, Dona nobis pacem, grant us peace, and I'll cue you when you can sing in canon with the choir. Also, following the program at the white table out here, Taku will have his books for sale, and if you'd like to make a donation to the church and just add $20, that will be $5 for the Ukraine fund and $15 for the book. You can do it all at the same time. So we thank you again, Caitlin and Taku, for being here. Bells, I'll let you get ready here. The bells begin here. This Arnold Sherman piece starts in a world, if you will, that is without peace, doesn't know peace or can't know peace without first knowing that peace within, as Caitlin recommended to us. So don't be too jarred out of your seats by this. It will all resolve when you hear the oldest instrument ever on the planet, and that is the human voice singing those sweet words, grant us peace. Thank you again. Ice cream. Wow, that's why there's so much World War. Not everybody has ice cream. Good. I think Scarlett's out there in the back. You can pick some up on your way to the parking lot out there. We'll kind of schmooze and hang out with the youth and remember what it was to be like there on this beautiful night we've been given. Thank you again so much for your generous contributions to the cause in Ukraine and your presence here today. Thank you, everyone here. God bless.